Welcome to Meathead Test Kitchen, where food and fitness come to hang out. Nutrition, training, and life. It's all fair game on Meathead Test Kitchen.
Welcome to Meathead Test Kitchen. We are here to help your fitness journey suck less. Today we're going to talk about dietary fats. We're going to get really, really nerdy about dietary fats, like to the point where after this episode, if there's anything you don't know about dietary fat, I didn't do my job. If you want to know more about like the base level of what a fat is, what types of fats there are out there, kind of a rundown of what a dietary fat actually is, check out our episode, WTF is a Macro. We fill you in there. It's episode 4. There are a lot of misconceptions when it comes to fats, whether or not you should incorporate them into your diet and how much of them you should actually eat. So hopefully today we can help give some insight on that.
And thanks to everything else related to diet culture, this is also under that umbrella. We've been told for such a long time that bats are also bad. Don't eat bats. But definitely,
fuck, this is how we got here.
Do not eat bats. But we've been told for a really long time to also not eat fats because they're supposedly super bad for you. And that isn't 100% true. Fats are necessary. The type of fat you consume does matter.
Yes.
But don't eat bats.
Don't eat bats because that's how you get coronavirus. Also, that's how you get banned from concerts in Des Moines, Iowa. You know that Ozzy chewed the head off the bat in Des Moines, right?
Yes.
There's your rock DJ fun fact for the day from another life. Fat won't make you fat. It won't.
Right.
I mean, if you eat too much of it in excess, anything's going to make you gain weight. But fat, dietary fats. And when we talk about fat today, that's all we're talking about is dietary fats. I don't like using the word fat as a way to describe anything other than the food.
We're talking about the nutritional fat.
Or your wallet, or a fat ass with a PH.
Fat ass.
But that's not a word I like to use very often. Fat has an awful connotation for a lot of people. So when we talk about fat today, we're talking about dietary fats, but I'm not always going to say dietary fats because that's too many words. So let's get into it. Eating healthy fats can help you in a multitude of ways, and we're going to dip into all of those. But first and foremost, did you know that fat helps with your hormone production? Mm-hmm. A lot of things around your hormones actually have to do with fat, and if you feel crappy and you hear something today, this might be what you're missing. So eating healthy fats will actually trigger hormones to make you feel full. So studies have shown that your body releases these 3 hormones, GLP-1, PYY, and cholecystokinin. I don't know if I said that right. It's a big medical word, and I'm not a doctor. But they help you feel satiated. So they help you feel full, which is good because if you feel full, you're not going to be looking for a snack later. Mm-hmm. And if you feel full, you're going to be happy.
You might feel like a snack.
You will feel like a snack. Always feeling like a snack. Fats also take longer to break down in your stomach than carbs do. So they help you feel a lot fuller for a lot longer.
Right. And that's why, like, I know that everybody's seen this. It's recommended, like, if you're feeling super hungry, grab a handful of almonds because it's got that quote-unquote healthy fat, which we'll cover later with the type of fat that it is, but it helps you stay fuller longer, and it works in a pinch. Plus, it's got protein in there.
A little bit of protein in there, and a tiny bit of carbs. Yeah. Yes. Carbs, fat, and protein make the world go round.
Mm-hmm. Dietary fats affect testosterone production in men as well. So testosterone is the steroid hormone that is derived from cholesterol, so changes in your fat intake could alter your testosterone levels. Gentlemen.
Yeah.
This is bad news bears if you're looking to chase gains. If you're wanting to, get ripped, testosterone is a hormone responsible for increased muscle mass.
It's also bad news bears if you want to get laid. Because if you're not making sex hormones, your sex drive probably ain't going to be that great. But we'll talk about that a little bit more here in a second. On the flip side, with the ladies, healthy fats also can affect your estrogen production. Estrogen is a hormone that directly affects the structure and function of tissues like muscle, tendon, and ligament. It improves your muscle mass and strength and increases the collagen in your connective tissues. And like in men, decreased fat intake affects how much estrogen your body produces. We're not going to talk about how body fat can affect estrogen because that is a whole different conversation for a different day. We're just talking about dietary fats and estrogen right now. Dietary fats promote the production of estrogen, which for the most part we can use because a lot of us are imbalanced. So make sure you're getting those healthy fats. All of these things we just mentioned, ladies, are good for you. So make sure you're eating enough healthy fat to support your estrogen production, to support your joints. Because as we get older as women, we already know that we're going to battle osteoporosis with our bones, our density going away. You're also going to deal with, as you get older, your joints start to crap out on you.
Right.
So you really want to make sure you're getting those good dietary fats to get that connective tissue.
Right. And in addition to regulating your menstrual cycle, estrogen affects the reproductive tract, the urinary tract, heart and blood vessels, bones, breast, skin, hair, mucous membranes, pelvic muscles, and your brain. Like, I know everybody knows at this point I trained for a half marathon last year, but I bring this up again because during my training, I had a coach. I had never trained this way before at that capacity. I really needed help with my food to make sure I was eating enough.
Right.
And I had up until that point, I've been tracking macros a while, but I had a really, really hard time getting all my fats in because for a really, really long time, I avoided fat.
Everybody was scared of them, yeah.
Exactly. I didn't know the nutritional value or the importance of fat. My mood was like all over the place before I started working with her. My cycle had been off or irregular or just weird in general. Once I accepted fat into my diet and incorporated it, the healthy fats, the non-saturated fats,
yes.
this is what I'm talking about here. All of that leveled off. My mood leveled off. My cycle became regular again because I got fat in my diet.
Yeah, we're gonna talk a little bit in a minute about why you should eat more dietary fats and how they do promote growth in your body and how they make you feel better and they make you happy. It's like carbs. Fat makes you happy. It's a scientific fact, and we'll talk about it here in a minute. Talking about saturated fat, when you have too much saturated fat, that can mean low sex drive as well as a low-fat diet. So saturated fat is usually the most tasty version of fat, but saturated fat can decrease your blood flow down there because of clogged arteries. Nobody needs clogged crotch arteries. I feel that living your best life is also getting some whenever you need it. So everybody should be getting some, especially right now. It's good for you. It helps you deal with stress and a whole other. We should really do an episode about doing it, probably, at some point. Anyway, as we mentioned before, low-fat diets can lead to low sex drive due to lack of testosterone or estrogen being produced. That is something that you want to avoid because it doesn't matter if you identify as male, female, whatever. However you line up on the spectrum, we all either have testosterone or estrogen. And you need to make sure that whatever side of the seesaw you're on, that you are getting the most that you need. Because you really, really, especially if you are, going through transition or any of that stuff where you're doing hormone therapy, you want to be able to support that as much as humanly possible. So make sure that you're eating your healthy fats and that you can produce your testosterone or your estrogen. I mean, women produce testosterone as well.
Right.
Very little. Dietary fats can also help you fight PCOS, which is caused by a hormone imbalance. PCOS is polycystic ovary syndrome, and it sucks.
Yeah, it sucks because symptoms include menstrual irregularity, excess hair growth, acne, and sometimes obesity.
Yeah.
None of that sounds fun.
None of those things are fun. And unfortunately, PCOS is really, really hard to deal with in some cases. There has been proof that women with PCOS can benefit from a higher fat diet versus a lower fat diet. The women with higher fat diet experience more fat loss than the women with a lower fat diet. This is where we start to talk about like nutrition as therapeutic. Like our friend Jill, she's doing the carnivore method to help with her eczema symptoms, and it's been working really well.
Really well.
So I can come on here and tell you that high fat diets are bullshit and that I fucking hate the keto diet, which I do, but you're free to do it. Like, I'm not going to tell you can't do it, but if you're doing it for a therapeutic purpose, try it. Like if you're looking at something and it says that your symptoms could be relieved just by changing your diet a little bit, fuck it, give it a try. That's like one of the easiest things you can do. My goal is to not be on any medication I don't need to be on.
Right.
So food is a really good way to kind of find out whether or not your symptoms need to actually be checked. Like, okay, I changed my diet. Did that do it? No, shit, I need to go to the doctor.
Yeah. Well, I wrote that down. Like, weight loss isn't always a goal, but in some women with PCOS, lowered body fat percentage can help improve your symptoms.
Yes.
According to mayoclinic.org, lifestyle changes, your doctor may recommend weight loss through a low-calorie diet combined with moderate exercise. Even a modest reduction in weight, for example, losing 5% of your body weight, might improve your condition.
Yeah.
Losing weight may also increase the effectiveness of the medications that your doctor may have prescribed you for PCOS, and it can help with infertility.
Yes, there are a lot of things that we have come to learn about being metabolically healthy in your body. And this is one of them, like just 5% of your body weight. Yes, that sounds like a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, losing 5% can be really easy. But yeah, weight loss isn't always a goal for people, and that's okay. I get that. Like, it shouldn't be. We hate diet culture, and diet culture always tells you that weight loss is the goal, so fuck that. We know that weight loss isn't always the goal, but we have seen in a lot of studies about a lot of different diseases and ailments that sometimes if you do lose some weight, that can help a lot, especially with the efficacy of your medication.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
That is one of the biggest things that they talk about. Like, hey, your medication might be more potent and actually work a little better if you go this route. So if you have PCOS, definitely talk to your doctor before any condition. If you have any medical condition, talk to your doctor before you take up a nutrition and fitness plan. But yeah, losing some weight can definitely help with PCOS. Also, eating healthy fats can help balance that hormone imbalance. Dude, having a hormone imbalance is like the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
Because you feel shitty all the time and you don't know why. You're doing everything you can possibly do, and it's just like, this sucks.
Yeah. It's not fun. And then when you figure out that it may be as simple as changing up or adding more dietary fats to your regimen, it's like frustrating. Because you're like, it was that fucking simple? Seriously?
Yeah. And anything relating to the ovaries is just murder, is terrible. Fat can also assist your genes in certain growth and metabolism processes. So like human growth hormone, things like that can also be enhanced by getting the proper amount of dietary fats.
Right. There's like a multitude of reasons to eat dietary fats. I'm going to keep saying dietary fats because I think it's really important to differentiate, because not all fats are equal, just like all carb sources are not equal.
Yes.
Your brain needs fat to run at its best, and it helps to regulate your mood. That's why I brought that up earlier.
Yes.
Fat helps your neurons fire, and omega-3s are key in supporting learning and memory function.
So we've talked about the brain fog where you don't have carbs. Fat can maybe offset that, but probably not. So that's how carbs and fat work. Like, we're going to do an episode about protein, and guess what? I'm going to tell you that your brain needs protein next week too, because your body needs these things. They're nutrients. They are the most basic levels of building blocks of food, and we need all three of them in some capacity. MCT oil can help reduce insulin resistance in individuals that might be overweight or that have diabetes. MCTs are medium-chain triglycerides. They're taken up directly by your liver for immediate use as energy. They can be found in coconut, palm, and pure MCT oil. I will say try to avoid palm oil as much as possible. It's not one of the most humanely sourced oils out there. Cuts down a lot of trees to make palm oil, which it hurts me to say because I love Nutella. And palm oil is in Nutella. Again, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but if you're into making smarter choices about what you consume, I would say coconut or MCT oil are going to be the ways to go. Coconut oil, you can put in anything. It has a super light coconut flavor, but if you're going to be seasoning your dish, you probably won't taste it.
Yeah,
And this comes from 5 years of living in Puerto Rico where coconut oil is in everything. Like, I could never tell that there was coconut oil in it.
Yeah. Omega-3s are beneficial for your heart. We've been told for a lot of years that omegas are good for your heart because they reduce the risk of heart disease in both men and women.
Eat your fish. Take your fish oil. There have been some studies about krill oil versus fish oil. Krill oil is okay, but it's not as effective as fish oil, which is a sticky wicket if you're vegan versus not. So if you're vegan, I got nothing for you right now other than krill oil. You might have to take a little bit more to offset it. There are studies out there that talk about the what's the word I'm trying to think of right now? The strength of actual fish oil versus krill oil. Omega-3 consumption's also been shown to reduce resting blood pressure, which is good for you, and decrease body fat levels, which is also a bonus. Both of those things, good for your heart. Your heart has to work less when you don't have as much body mass to carry around. So
I did want to bring up some really good, tasty examples of omega-3s because I don't know that necessarily everybody knows what they're in. Some omega-3 rich foods are fish, obviously.
Yes.
We brought that up, seafood, especially cold water fatty fish like salmon is the first one I think of when I think of omega-3s. Nuts and seeds, flaxseed, chia seeds, walnuts, plant oils, which we touched on. And you can get your omega-3s from fortified foods. They make fortified yogurts and milk and soy beverages if you don't like seafood or nuts and stuff like that.
Yeah, all of those things are available to you. Really easy way to see if you don't want to take fish oil because sometimes you get burpy. And even with the burpless fish oil, you get burpy and it tastes gross.
And everyone hates burpees.
I do.
Sorry.
Burps and burpees can both just get the hell out of here today. If you don't want to do fish oil, you can always Google easy ways to get omega-3s into your diet. Or if you have a question about that, you can always email us as well. hello@meatheadtestkitchen.com.
And we'll definitely put a list of like our favorite fat sources and examples of all of these in case flying through it on a podcast isn't the best way to consume that.
Yeah,
but we'll put a list up with the notes on meatheadtestkitchen.com.
Yep, it'll all be in the show notes right there on the podcast page. Polyunsaturated fats improve your cholesterol. These fats are generally plant-based, and evidence has shown that in addition to deterring heart disease, polyunsaturated fats can also help reduce your risk for type 2 diabetes. Whoop, whoop. Nobody needs the beatus. Ain't no good for you. I mean, if you have type 1 diabetes, you've been dealing with that for a long time, and you already know that statement to be true. I have seen people reverse the road to type 2 diabetes just by changing their diet. I've seen multiple people do it. If you have been told that you are on the track to type 2 diabetes, if you've been warned, changing your intake of food is the first and easiest thing you can do to avoid that happening.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Like the simplest answer that we can give you.
Yeah.
Like
for anything that's wrong with your body.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? Did you change your food?
Yeah.
Like something food's not going to fix, obviously.
Right.
But that's like my first question anytime somebody comes to me like, yo, I feel like shit. Okay, what are you eating?
Keep a diary for a week. That's why we brought that up several times. Just knowing
is half.
Like if you don't know what you don't know.
Knowing is half the battle.
Exactly.
Thanks, G.I. Joe.
Dietary fats also help you absorb certain vitamins. I know we mentioned that at the beginning of the episode, but healthy fats help your body absorb fat soluble vitamins such as A, D, E, and K.
All things you need.
Yes.
D for your bones, E for your skin. If one of your goals is weight loss, dietary fats can help you. Fat keeps you full. We talked about that a little bit earlier. It also prevents blood sugar spikes, and they add flavor to your food, which helps keep your meals more satisfying. And since they are filling and satisfying, healthy fats can actually help you eat less, which goes against everything we've ever been told about fat, right? Like dietary fats in moderation will not make you gain weight. I'm going to say it again. Dietary fats in moderation will not make you gain weight.
Right.
Okay. Fuck diet culture. Everything they say to you has been wrong for years, and they've been brainwashing all of us and making us feel bad about ourselves.
At the very least, misleading.
Oh, so misleading, dude.
Yeah.
Terrible. So, okay, we talked about what fats are, how you can get them, how they're good for you. Well, how much fat should you be eating daily? That's the next question. Like, that's a great question, and it honestly depends. I hate saying that. Like, I love to have a definite answer for people because efficiency and fact are two of my favorite things. And it sucks when I'm like, it depends. I don't know. But this one, for real, it really does depend. 20 to 40% of your daily food intake should be fats, dietary fats. About 10% of that should be saturated fat. A standard low-fat diet will contain usually 25 to 30% or less of its calories from fat. That's the kind of diet that if you get really, really extreme on a low-fat diet, that's what's going to tank your estrogen. It's going to tank your testosterone. It's going to make your brain foggy. It's going to make you unhappy. You're going to be hungry and pissed off all the time. A high-fat diet, more like keto, will generally contain about 3/4 of its calories from fat. So if you are going to try something like keto for therapeutic purposes, definitely be hitting that list of fats that we mentioned a couple minutes ago that will also be on the show notes for your fat choices.
Yeah.
With that much fat in your diet, you really need to be on the ball about eating healthy fats.
Right, exactly.
If you go dirty with 75% of your daily intake of fat, that can get gnarly real quick.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Atkins is great in theory, but we all know that you can't just house a pound of bacon 3 times a day. That's not good for you.
And, like, no one wants to get burned out on bacon.
No.
Like, it's tasty, and the fat is great to cook with. Like we did mention, like, these numbers are a general rule. You may have dietary restrictions. You may have different goals or other things that are going to skew those numbers one way or another.
Yeah.
As always, we suggest this like every episode. We recommend that you consult your doctor so you're 100% sure where your intake should fall.
We did these things by a lot of trial and error.
I just upped my fat. Yeah, baby.
You did?
I did.
I'm not macro tracking at all.
Because
right
the last time I upped my carbs, so this time I added more to the fats.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you usually do. First bump your carbs, then bump your fats and see how they go from there.
It's hard, though. It's a lot of fat for me.
I have found that I go through a lot of cooking oil and a lot of butter at our house. When you cook every meal, you go through fats like crazy. Like, it's like, damn, we eat a lot of dietary fats in our house. Like, probably... It's not a dietary fat. Butter is not a dietary fat, but it's delicious. And you can eat it in moderation. Like, everybody has told you that butter is the devil. Butter is not the devil.
They don't make sculptures out of butter because it's the devil.
You're damn
right.
You know,
like, they make it out of butter because it's delicious.
I see you, Iowa. My home state doing me proud with the butter cow. Thank you. So butter's not terrible for you. Margarine is also not terrible for you. I actually use them in tandem depending on the recipe. Because you just need to get that fat in there, and if it's a little cleaner versus whether or not you're going to taste it is the deciding factor on that. But fats will not make you gain weight. They make you happy. They keep you full, and they regulate your hormones. You need them.
Exactly. Super important.
All very good things. So don't forget to include your dietary fats in your meal today.
Yeah. Yes, eat them. We are proud to be a Hurrdat Media podcast. Please subscribe, rate, and review anywhere you stream your podcasts. When you aren't keeping up with your favorite podcast, which is ours, we've got you covered on the network. We have an unbeatable deal also for Husker fans. You can now get a 3-month subscription to Hail Varsity. Fabulous, wonderful Nebraska Huskers coverage.
Yes.
You can now get a 3-month subscription to Hail Varsity for the price of 1 month.
Yeah, that's a steal.
Yeah.
Because the quality of content that our friends at Hail Varsity put out consistently is above and beyond.
Yeah, it's amazing. So that means it's only $2.99 for 3 months. Yeah. If you use our promo code Meathead. A Hail Varsity subscription includes both the magazine and all premium digital content. So like legit, you don't want to miss out on this deal. 3 months of Hail Varsity for just $2.99. Subscribe now at hailvarsity.com/subscribe and use Meathead at checkout.
Also, check out some of our friends on the Hurrdat Media Podcast Network, Pat and JT, Pops and Hisses. Who else? Mind Your Own Podcast, of course.
Thank you. Schick and Nick.
Hollywood
Raw.
Yeah.
We've got a variety of amazing talent, and like any topic you could think of, we've got you covered.
I mean,
it's like legit.
Yeah, squad game is strong.
Yeah.
When you're all caught up with us, be sure to check out some of our homies on the Hurrdat Media Network. You can find that link, I believe, on our website.
Hurrdatmedia.com.
Yeah, hurrdatmedia.com.
HURRDAT media.com. I did want to, before we sign off today, also give another shout out to our listeners. Thank you so much for allowing us to be vulnerable when we need to, talk about fitness and nutrition because we love it that much and we love you and we want your fitness and nutrition journey to not suck. So
plus, like, life is just hard right now. I think that we all owe each other full transparency with how we're all doing.
For sure.
I did a really big, scary thing last week and told told people that I don't even know a bunch of really scary shit that's happened in my life. And you know what? The world didn't end. So thank you.
Yes.
We really, really fucking appreciate
and
you.
as
a lot.
always, too, don't forget you can always find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, MTK Staff on Twitter, but you can also follow Sadie and myself on our personal accounts, Meathead Sadie, Meathead Sausha on Instagram, Meathead Test Kitchen on Instagram. You can also email us, hello@meatheadtestkitchen.com. Don't forget that as a resource. And thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hopefully you have an awesome week. You eat a lot of good food. You kill your workouts, and you don't
Crush
freeze.
it.
Hopefully you're
Stay warm.
listening to this podcast from somewhere warmer
In front of a heater.
-5 wind chill at, what time is it? 1:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah, especially if you're in Nebraska.
Welcome to Flavor Country,
Thank you.
Familia. Have a good week. We love you. Meathead Test Kitchen.
Out.
Join Sadie and Sausha every Monday, helping to make your fitness and nutrition journey suck less. MTK.
A Hurrdat Media Production.